Uh,
Are we
yeah,
uh
yeah. I
are
think
we
we're
gonna
gonna do this.
are we gonna talk about this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're gonna do this. Yeah. The Epstein files dropped, and it's caused a whole bunch of fun stuff to happen online, and just in public. And so we're gonna start off talking about Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is going straight for the nasty stuff. Nasty stuff. Like, so she's talking about Baphomet and demon worship. And like, we know that there is an ugly underbelly to Hollywood and the global elites and politics, and they all come together in things like Pizzagate. We're hearing a lot of Pizzagate lately, but Nicki Minaj is going straight for the stuff. I'm worried that people aren't going to accept this yet. And yeah, what do you got to say about Nicki Minaj?
Let me start off by saying this. Some of the stuff that Nicki Minaj said at the Grammys, don't understand. Last time I remember the Grammys being relevant, I was in a bar and we were all looking at J Lo's green dress, and that was all the rage. So that's going back
Mhm.
like I have not paid attention to the Grammys. But what I do know is that Nicki
I'm a
Minaj has
musician and I haven't paid attention to the Grammys.
Nicki Minaj has started to swing right, and the thing is, once you swing right, they go after you. So all I saw was Trevor Noah saying something, and Chrissy Teigen, who we can talk about Chrissy Teigen because there's only one reason why I know who Chrissy Teigen is. But anyway, Chrissy Teigen is in the background, like waving goodbye, and then Nicki Minaj starts making some incredible claims. And I think that for a lot of people, that's the first time that they heard anything like that, and they're
I'm
gonna think it's
certain this is the first time regular people that go about regular lives and don't immerse themselves in darker elements of politics have definitely not heard this stuff. This is why I'm concerned as far as people accepting what's being said.
yeah. So I want to share with you my first time having any exposure. Well, let's just for clarification talk about what Nicki Minaj was saying is that she was talking about the stars that you are worshiping are doing human sacrifices and things like that, which for most of us were like, man, that is completely and utterly ridiculous. The first time I heard about this, I was in DC. This was a while back. This was years ago. I was in DC and I was with some pretty legitimate people. As a matter of fact, the person that brought this subject up just happened to be someone who I was standing inside of the Trump Hotel looking at Fox News. And the person who told the story later on that night was on TV at a Trump rally on stage behind Trump.
Crazy.
Just to give you an idea of the environment, it's not like I was hanging out at a corner tappy, and some tree surgeon starts going, "But there's human sacrifices." I'm talking about there's video of this story being told, and all the people that were there, except for me, were people that were involved in this world. I was there as kind of an observer, and he told some incredible stories about these types of human sacrifices. And he mentioned Hillary Clinton by name, which was the first time I heard about Hillary Clinton. And look, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, there's some crazy, crazy stuff about Hillary Clinton and something called frazzle drip. That's all I'll say. But the point is that the first time that I was exposed to this kind of stuff, it threw me off, and the people around me looked at me and were all kind of like, "Meh," and they kind of let it go. But
Yeah.
they were all paying attention a little. They were all paying attention. Like I was like Arnold from Different Strokes. I was like,
What you talking
you know,
about, Willis?
exactly. But then everybody else was just kind of listening. And the fact that they were all paying attention was an indicator to me that there was something to it. And since then, I've learned, unfortunately, a decent amount about this, and it's very, very upsetting.
Right. And it's hard for regular people to, I would say regular people, that's a rude way to put it. Just
Normies.
Well, okay, fine. We'll call them normies.
Normies.
Yeah, because they don't follow politics or anything of the darker side in their everyday life. So here's how I put it. I had a conversation with somebody about this, and there somebody who's aligned with us, thinks, listens to what we had to say, and they're still like, come on, man, that's a bit much. Blood rituals, human sacrifice. Now you're really going off the deep end. So I put it like this. So if you're willing to accept the possibility of a globalist elite system designed on global domination through things like the the Great Reset, stuff like that. These are accepted terms here, not these aren't mystery like fake things. It was on the World Economic Forum's website, the Great Reset, right? So things like that that they control. Maybe even who gets famous in Hollywood, and those people who are famous in Hollywood become the mouthpieces of these different things. Through like Pizzagate and all this other stuff. I know I keep bringing up Pizzagate, but get used to Pizzagate. You're going to hear a lot about Pizzagate in the near future. But say if all these things are possible and they can control elections, control governments, make an attempt to topple the United States and try to reform global politics, it's really not that far of a stretch to think that it could go into blood ritual and sacrifice and stuff like just blood rituals. We'll leave it at that. It's really not that far of a stretch.
So, I mean, out in public, they're doing it. If people wanna look up, the woman's name is Marina Abramovich,
Hmm.
and she does these blood rituals. You can see Jay-Z dancing with her. A lot of people are all of a sudden seeing Jay-Z dancing with this Marina Abramovich woman. I knew about her before I saw Jay-Z. People turn me on to her. They go into these, gosh, I wish I could remember what the term is, these blood rituals and these blood blood meals or blood games or blood something, and it's all
That's why
part
you just
about
say
this.
blood rituals. Yeah.
But anywho, they're putting it out there, and people talk about how sometimes these evil folks do symbolism, and symbolism, they'll represent symbolisms to show what they'll do. So one of the symbols that you can look at is something in common pop culture. Used to be very, very popular. If you remember the movie Castaway,
Dude,
the
that's
movie.
exactly right. I was going to make the reference. You beat me to it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Wilson, right?
Wilson! If you look at that print and you look at how many different you can see Ellen DeGeneres displaying that logo. You can see Lady Gaga displaying that logo. There's a lot of celebrities that are displaying that logo, and the satanic ties behind it are certainly something to monitor.
See, okay, so make sure. So I didn't see it as satanic exactly. I associate Wilson with the whole pedophilia ring that's been, the Epstein pedophilia ring and all this other stuff. Because I thought Wilson, especially the eyes, represented panda eyes, which I'm not going to go into what panda eyes are. You can look up panda eyes on your own and defile your search engine to find out what panda eyes are.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's
It's
terrible.
absolutely horrible.
There's a significance to the color of the logo,
Hmm.
and it's a reference to a ritualistic behavior that involves removing the skin. That's all I'm going to get into. I don't
Oh,
like
okay.
talking about this stuff because it's very, very disgusting,
Well, that's
but
the
it
point. That's the absolute point. Nicki Minaj is going for the worst
yeah,
of the worst thing,
yeah.
and I don't think people are going to swallow it.
Oh, no, no one's gonna believe it. No one's gonna believe it,
Mm.
but the thing is that I don't know. See, here's the thing is that I don't know if I believe it, and I understand why a lot of people wouldn't believe it because this is something that's really, really, really hard to wrap your head around. But the problem is
Yeah.
that it just never goes away. It's always there. It keeps coming back. And you see the trafficking, and we see all of these things that are happening overtly in front of us. Why couldn't it be that? And one other thing I'll tell you about is there's an actor named Isaac Cappy. Now, the reason why I'm a karate teacher is because I sucked at doing homework. So understand, I don't know much about this guy,
That's the
Isaac
worst
Cappy.
endorsement for martial artists ever. As a lifelong martial artist myself, I'm personally offended because okay, well, my grades suck too, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
it didn't make me a martial artist.
you're using your degree for your profession. I'm using my martial arts for my profession because the homework was messing me up. But my point, let's not get sidetracked on that. My point is that had I done my research I would have looked this guy Isaac Cappy and some of his credits up, but there's an actor named Isaac Cappy who the impression I get is that he was on the rise, and I've seen clips of him in some pretty big movies from around 2010, 2011, and
Mm.
he started making videos. Um, Revealing some of this stuff that Nicki Minaj is now talking about. And he said that he was not suicidal. And if he did die, he had like a dead man switch that would be triggered. Well, he jumped off a bridge and promptly got hit by a car and died violently. And then his dead man switch got triggered. And it's kind of an upsetting video to see.
I'll bet.
And that's why it's time to bring a little levity into the situation. Time to bring a little levity. Let's pull the curtain back and let people understand some of the references that Dan makes. For example, this is why when I talk about rich people, one of the ways that I differentiate just how rich they are is I say, that guy's so rich, he can drink white baby tears. That
If
goes into
adrenochrome
all
was
of this
only
evil
so easy to
stuff.
get.
I know that goes into all that evil stuff. So I got to try and put a little levity to it because this is one of these things that we don't talk about. Like Chuck, you and I have
Mm,
discussed this in the past, but we never bring this up on the podcast because it's crazy. It's absolutely,
mhm,
completely, and totally nuts. And the thing is, it's so nuts that if you talk about it, people will immediately think that you're nuts. But all I'm saying is, when Nicki Minaj came out with that stuff, I wasn't like, man, what's she talking about? I was like,
mhm.
she's going there.
She's
She's
going there.
going
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's going to come to. So you could decide whether or not you want to believe it. I don't know what to believe because it hasn't been proven. My ears and eyes are just open. And what I've seen in the past decade, I can't put anything past the global elites. I cannot. So while I'm not saying, oh, yeah, blood for Baal, I'm also saying maybe blood for Baal. I don't know. Nicki Minaj can back up her statement. Um, the Epstein files may back up her statement. They may not. Only time will tell, and we can observe.
And this is what I think too, is that when you pay attention to this type of behavior and you look at it from this lens, then all of a sudden, if you look at the opening ceremonies of the Olympics in France a couple years ago, it was very, very much a satanic, ritualistic demonstration. And people see, nobody knows about this stuff, so all of a sudden everybody comes out and like, oh no, it was supposed to be like more of a satanic representation of the Last Supper, you know,
It
and
was a defiling of the Last Supper. Yes, I'm
the
not
thing
religious,
is
and I
that
could see it was blasphemous.
people came out and they all of a sudden were like, no, it's not the Last Supper. It's blah 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 blah. But the actress
It
that
was
was
totally the Last
playing
Supper.
Jesus was told it was the Last Supper. But the thing is that when
Mm-hmm.
you see the people behind who are planning this, and you look at them from a satanic lens, and you follow that all the
Mm-hmm.
time, that makes sense. It makes
Right.
complete sense from that lens. A lot of people don't have that lens.